Welcome to BEFM Drama. I'm your host, Ryan Estrada. As you know, this season I'm writing brand new radio plays inspired by the 22 books of winter stories that Charles Dickens wrote with his collaborators way back in the 1800s. But this time, I didn't do that. Because today on the show, we're going to try something very, very different. This is the start of our adaptation of the 1865 edition, Dr. Marigold's Prescriptions. It's our 37th episode in just a few months. After researching, writing, directing, acting, hosting, editing, scoring, sound designing, and subtitling 2 of these per week, I'm realizing that it's kind of like improv. I have to turn them out so fast there's no time for a second draft. Dickens himself was in a similar situation, trying to crank these books out in between classic novels, so some of it was just stream of consciousness. So I've often wondered what would happen if we did an entire all-improv episode. No script, no plan, just 3 actors in a room making up an entire Goblin and Fern story off the top of their head as they went. It seemed fun, but it seemed too difficult to do one of these stories justice that way. That's until I discovered Charles Collins's To Be Taken at the Dinner Table. This short story had a very simple premise. 2 co-workers argue over which of them wrote a particular joke. Our 2 leads, Kelly and Sam, are comedians. And they can quite easily argue about comedy for as long as they need to. So I brought them into the studio and surprised them with the scenario. I gave them the actual 155-year-old joke and told them to act out an episode off the top of their heads where Goblin and Fern disagree about whose joke it is. This joke has not aged well, but I asked them to pretend like it is the funniest joke in the world. And then, they went for it. This is what happened. Please enjoy BEFM Drama's production of No Joke.
What? What's so funny?
I'm gonna tell you, man, you gotta finish eating because you do not want to have food in your mouth when I lay this one on you, bud.
Okay, well, let's get to it.
Are you ready?
I guess so.
All right. Okay, I'm about to tell you a joke, and it's gonna make you laugh so hard you're probably gonna fall out of that chair. Why, Goblin? I can't. Why? Okay. Get it together, Fern. Why does a young gentleman who has partaken freely of the pudding, which at this establishment precedes the meat, resemble a meteor?
Well, I know the punchline.
No. I guarantee you haven't heard this one.
Fern, I know the punchline because I am the one who told you this joke.
No. No, you didn't tell me this joke. I didn't. I've known this joke I've known this for years.
That's because I told you this joke a long time ago. Maybe the first year we worked together.
Well, what's the joke then? Tell me the joke.
Well, the joke is, why does a young gentleman who has partaken freely of the pudding... Fern, I need you to control yourself. This is my joke. You clearly do not remember me telling this.
Pudding, right?
He eats the pudding before the meat because that's how the establishment where he is eating requires...
Now hang on, wait. If you know this joke, then why don't you tell it right? Words in jokes matter. So I'm the one who can tell jokes here because I understand how to deliver.
Look, I'm not telling the joke. You're the one telling me the joke. I am the one explaining to you that I told you the joke first, and now you are retelling the joke back to me that I told you years and years and years ago.
I have been telling this joke since I was a young teen, at least. I told this joke at my brother-in-law's wedding. And you know what happened there? A man who worked in the radio came up to me, complimented me on the joke, and asked if he could tell it on his morning news show. No. Which he did, which is where probably you might have heard it.
No. Stop there. You didn't tell the radio guy the joke because I told you the joke years and years ago. And when I told you the joke, you laughed hysterically and then told me, quote unquote, that is the first time I have ever heard that joke in my life.
Well, sometimes maybe if I wanted to make you feel good, I might have been caressing your ego into thinking you told me some joke, just like when... Have you ever told a joke and it bombed? That comedians like me know that is the worst thing. It's a terrible feeling because all you want to do is bring joy to somebody's life and they sit there straight faced. So I would never do that to you when you're telling me a joke that I've heard hundreds and hundreds of times before in my youth, in my life. Yes?
Stop there. Immediately after I told you the joke, you had me explain the punchline. And you specifically had me explain the difficult word that leads up to the punchline and that is in the punchline. And you said, that is the first time I have ever heard that word in my life. What does it mean? Tell me, Goblin, please, because I do not know what it means. That is the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life, and you told it to me first.
I feel like we're not talking about the same joke.
Is it the joke that starts like this? Why does a young gentleman who has partaken freely of the pudding, which at this establishment precedes the meat, resemble a meteor?
Oh, yeah.
27, huff 'em.
Yeah, go for 27, huff 'em.
Yeah, head down to tackle the toy factory. We got a guy stuck in a machine.
Yeah, wait, hang on. I can't do this. Listen, dispatch. Have you ever heard the joke, why does the young gentleman who has partaken freely of the pudding, which at this establishment precedes the meat, resemble a meteor?
Have you ever heard that if someone is dying in a machine and you don't go save them, they die?
It's because
Dispatch, we need you on this one. This is important. Fern, as usual, is misremembering his entire life. We need you to settle a dispute. Have you heard the joke? Why does a young gentleman who has partaken freely of the pudding, which at this establishment precedes the meat, resemble a meteor?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Because I know for a fact the last time I saw you, which was at the Christmas party, I met you by the wine cooler section, and you were scooping some fruit out of the punch bowl, putting it in a plate, and taking it privately to your table. And I said, let me stop you right there.
Oh yeah, did someone, one of you told me a joke.
I told you a joke, and then immediately after I told you the joke, Fern walks up, puffed up chest, thinking he's all cool, tells you the same exact joke.
Okay, now you bring up a good question too. There's two problems here. Your story's backward because I'm the one who saw him and I stopped him. You came forward, told the same joke, and even dispatch told me that I told it better the first time.
Wrong. I told him the joke before he got to the punch bowl. When you told him the joke, he was at the punch bowl. Before he was at the punch bowl, he was slicing roast beef at the main buffet table.
When I was slicing roast beef at the main buffet table, I saw you standing over by the restrooms, acting awkward and socially weird like you always do at functions like this, and I motioned for you to come on over and join me because I know that you don't like big crowds, but if you're with me, we're cool.
I think I failed to mention that after I told him the joke, he said that's the first time I've ever heard that joke before.
I gotta admit, I was at the punch bowl. I had a lot of punch. I was very tipsy. I do not recall who told me the joke first.
It doesn't seem to really matter who told the joke to you first, because the fact is, I never heard it from Goblin. I was told this joke from my grandfather when I was graduating high school. He said, I got something to give you. It's not a gift of monetary value, but it is a gift of great social wealth. And it's the gift of a joke that will be able to break ice for you in any social event. And he told me exactly how to say it. He said, "Young Fern, why does a young gentleman who has partaken freely of the pudding, which at this establishment precedes the meat, resemble a meteor?"
Oh yeah, I just got a report that they got the machine running. They were hoping to get him out, but it went backwards, and it's just mangled his legs. His legs are just completely mangled at this point.
Anyhow, I said, "Why, grandfather? Why does it?"
So perhaps this joke that we're talking about right now has been in my family for over 1,000 years. We have a piece of parchment paper written in Old English in a gilded frame that is passed down from generation to generation to generation, and it is this very joke that I learned quite possibly before I could even read.
I don't think you guys are getting this serious. I actually got the guy in the line. Can I just patch him in? You can talk to him, figure out what's going on in the situation.
Yeah, that's fine. Patch him through.
How you guys doing? You doing all right? You doing okay?
Yeah, hey, buddy, but we got to get to the bottom of something really important here. I was just about to tell my partner that when I went to Nicaragua back in 1992, if I remember correctly, I was trying to get right with myself and deal with some of my past trauma. But what happened was I entered a realm that was neither here nor any time that ever existed. Time did not exist. There was no misconnection between anything. And then I spoke to the machine god. It was metallic and it was up in the sky like a gigantic leviathan. It's passed down to me ancient wisdom that does not exist in a realm of time 1,000 years, as you say your family, Goblin, knows this joke. It read to me a joke, and it said, "Why does a young gentleman who has taken freely of the pudding, which at this establishment precedes the meat, resemble a meteor?"
I think I know what you're talking about. I see a machine like that right now. It's my legs are trapped in it. And do I know you? I think I know you. Do I know you? I think I met you before. How you doing? How's your mother?
I think you are behaving rather calmly for the seriousness of our situation, which is the seriousness of integrity and comedy.
I think that we can clearly dismiss your last story. Just because you went to Nicaragua and had some hippie experience does not in any way trump my family story of this joke being passed down. If you want, I will bring the 1,000-year-old joke to work tomorrow, and we'll look at it together.
Bring it tomorrow, and once I look at that paper, I'll be able to tell you, listen, I'm going to bring a 2,000-year-old paper because I know how to rub dirt on a piece of paper, make it look like it was written on papyrus. I'll go get a banana and dry it out in the oven and then scribble something on it. That doesn't matter. But once you have a godlike experience, you will never shake it and will change you as a human.
Yeah, my boss, Mr. Tackleton, just got here. He's going to try and get me out of the machine. He wants to talk to you. Can he talk to you and maybe you can walk him through this?
Look, how bad are you? Because we're having a serious conversation right here. Can you get out of this by yourself?
Yeah, he doing his mistackling over here. Yeah, his legs, I don't think he's got them anymore. I'm gonna try and pull. I'm just gonna grab his arms and pull. I don't want to mess up the machine. So, is that gonna be alright? Like, if I just, like, there's, like, gears and stuff. Like, if I just pull, you guys gonna be down here able to, like, patch that up real quick?
Sounds like a dangerous stretch, sir. A dangerous stretch just like my friend Goblin is doing while he's trying to tell me some far-fetched story about a joke being passed on through generations of his family. This is not a discussion of culture. It's a discussion of integrity. And I have had it with you, Goblin, and I don't want to see this parchment, and I don't want to hear any more lies.
You are a liar. And I am willing to bring everything, my integrity, my honor as a human being, to this room, and we will settle this fair and square. We'll tell the joke. We'll see who tells the joke funnier. And I am 100% sure I tell it funnier than you. You know why? Because I told the joke to you first.
Every day when I sit here, I am shocked by how disappointed I am with every interaction we have, and I'm sorry that I ever tried to like you.
I look at your face, and I look at your body, and it's as if your flesh is made entirely of lies and dishonor.
Yeah, speaking of flesh, there's a lot less here than there was before. I tried to pull them out. There is a lot of blood here, and I don't know what's going on. The machine is probably broken. I'm gonna need to buy another one.
But I'm sorry. We got problems to solve. You do what you need to do.
Actually, wait. Snap out of it. This guy needs our help. What are we doing? We're letting a patient be mangled by a machine just because you won't admit that I told you a joke and I made you laugh and you never let me be the funny one in this crew.
No, you will not admit that I told you that joke, and immediately after I told you the joke, you told me it was the funniest joke you've ever heard. You said, Goblin, you are the funniest person, the most honest person I have ever met in my entire life. Thank you for telling me this joke. It is the first time I've ever heard this joke in my life. Why is it so hard for you to admit this?
It's not hard for me to admit something that I don't remember, and I have a perfect memory. As a matter of fact, I remember my first word. Most children don't. My first words were, why does a young gentleman who has partaken freely of the pudding, which at this establishment proceeds to meet, resemble a meteor?
Hey, real quick, before you guys finish this, can I ask you a question?
No.
Why does a young gentleman who has partaken freely in the pudding which at the establishment proceeds to meet resemble a meteor?
Because he's effulgent. That is to say, a full gent. Slap me. It doesn't work. Oh my God, I'm gonna die. Kiss me on the lips. I'm a baby.
I don't get it.
Thank you for listening to BEFM Drama, especially as weird an episode as this. I did not know what to expect when we sat down to do this one, but I'm pleasantly surprised with how it went. This was No Joke, improvised by Sam Hazelton and Kelly Brasbridge, inspired by To Be Taken at the Dinner Table by Charles Collins, from the book Dr. Marigold's Prescriptions. It starred Sam Hazelton as Goblin, Kelly Brasbridge as Fern, and me as Dispatch, Mr. Plumber, and Mr. Tackleton. Hidden Agenda, Deadly Roulette, Sidewalk Shade, Rollin' at 5, and Western Streets are by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech and released under Creative Commons Attribution License. Goblin's theme is by Unheard Music Concepts. As always, thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.